Hey, my name is Chad. This video we're going to talk about my last PRS match, which was up at Fouled Boar Range over near Ninnekah, Oklahoma. And oh man, I seem to be very much getting into a typical routine of doing really good sometimes and doing really bad sometimes. So I don't know. I think I'm giving myself a half a thumbs up and a half a thumbs down on this one because I either did really well or really trash. Frustrating, I know. So kind of get the overview of it. This was on Saturday, July 5th, Oklahoma in July. Likely to be miserable time. Thankfully, it looked like most of the rain was going to not hit us this day. So, man, it ended up being like near 1 o'clock before I went to bed and just before 3 o'clock when I got up and started trying to wake up and get to moving around. Very little sleep. That's kind of normal, so not a huge deal for me. Get up there, and there's quite a few people there. We ended up having a total of 13 people signing up, and for some reason, part of the weird things that happened at this match that kind of messed with me some, but instead of splitting into 2 or 3 groups so that we could run through, split up and go to different stages and run through the whole match fairly quickly, they decided to just keep us all in one big group. So match that should have been done probably 11 to 12 at the latest ended up running till I think it was 2:30 by the time I finally got out of there. So it stretched on quite a bit longer just because we were all 13 of us in one group moving from stage to stage all together. For the overall picture, if you want to just check that part out, the maximum score would have been 68, so 7 stages. We had 2 that were 9-shot, everything else was 10-shot. So maximum you could have scored was 68. My score ended up being 36, and I only ended up taking 55 shots. So maximum score, I got about 53% of the maximum score. I did have about a 66% hit rate, so closer to that 70% goal that I'm shooting for. I had 2 or 3 stages that I just bombed out on, and they really yanked my average down on that one. So the guy that won, he had a score of 65, so he only dropped 3 the whole match. Quite impressive. Second place was 58, so he dropped 10, figure 1 per stage, or not even, because we only had 7 stages, but he dropped 10 total for the whole thing. So it's kind of like a 65, then 58, 56, 53, 3 different people scored 53, and then 52, then a 47 and a 46, and then jumped down another 10 to me at 36, and then we go down to a 31 and a couple of 27. So it's like I was at the top of the back, if that makes sense. So I still got a lot to learn and figure out, but I am glad that I went to this one. I was kind of wishy-washy mentally if I wanted to go to that one, but I'm glad that I went. I got to try a few things that I had not been able to before, and I didn't know anybody there, so I was pretty much doing everything completely on my own. Like, I didn't have anybody to bounce my ideas off of or anything like that, so I just jumped in and went for it. Something weird. Very first stage. I did not film this one. I don't even think I filmed it with my trigger cam. We got, I think, 6 of us all down on the line at once, and we had it was going to be a troop line. So we had targets at 450, 530, 650, 750, 850. So everybody gets laid down in a row, and you're on target at the 450, and the guy running the time, you got pretty much 15 seconds to get your 2 shots off. So they say, whatever your name. So when my time would come up, they say, Chad, and boom, I close my bolt, take my shot, run bolt, take my shot. And then they call the next guy's name. He takes his shots at that 450, then the next guy, etc. All the way down. Once the last guy is called, they call the first guy again, and he's already on target at the 530. And boom, 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 boom. So it's like going down a line. It's a cool idea, and it makes sense. What got me is I was doing well the first 2 I got 2 hits on the first target and then 1 out of the 2 on the second target. And then we go back to 650. The wind had changed quite a bit, and I wasn't 100% sure what I needed to do, so I kept kind of walking around the targets and not getting a second round hit. A lot of people did considerably better at that part of it, at least the guys that had much better wind reading and correction knowledge from time that they have shot. So by the time I get out to the 750 and 850, I'm missing off to the side and then just not quite correcting all the way correct. So that one out of the possible 10, I only scored 4. I knew what the problem was. It was just too much time between when I took my Kestrel reading and then we all got laid down and then we started shooting, and then as time goes on the wind is shifting and picking up speed, so I needed a different wind call. I didn't, in between I couldn't jump up, get my Kestrel and try to readjust my wind call. So that's one of those things over time I need to just get it all memorized more or less, at least out to 1,000 yards, have a somewhat better idea just in my head of where I need to be instead of totally depending on the Kestrel, because I've got it figured out now. When I'm good on the Kestrel, I'm good, but when I'm off, I'm just off throwing stuff into the dirt. Then we go to the second stage. This one I think I filmed with the trigger cam, but I did not set up the other camera. It was starting to sprinkle a little bit at this point, and I was like, I'm not going to set it up. I did terrible on that last stage. I'm just going to have an off day, so I'm just going to take my time and do what I have to. One other thing weird. So all of these stages, instead of being the normal 2 minutes, were all 1:30. So we lost 30 seconds per stage on all 7 of the stages. But stage 2 was a PRS skill stage. So there was a big target and small target at 400 yards. And you had to get, into first position, like my skills barricade up there. First kneeling and then standing, kneeling, and then come back to one of the first 3 positions that you shot from. But you shoot at the big target and then the small target. Move to the next position, big target, small target, next etc. So that one, I think the way they split it, I ended up running second on that stage. And first guy went, I can't remember his score, but I get up there and I'm honestly kind of nervous, but I decided, you know what, I'm just going to have fun with it. Get down and boom, boom, 2 hits. Okay, go to the next one, boom, boom, 2 hits. Okay, go to the 3rd position, 2 hits, 4th position, 2 hits, back up to the 5th position. I'm getting nervous, boom, boom, 2 hits, perfect, clean, 10 out of 10. And I was quite excited about that. And of course I didn't film it. So I do hopefully have it on trigger cam, so hopefully you've been seeing that, but I was quite happy to redeem myself on a skills stage just because I had scored poorly on that at the Clinton range, and I'm really glad I was able to kind of redeem myself and get that back. So the practice that I do, it does make a difference. I think at the Clinton place, I just really got to figure out how to read the wind across that field where it's totally different than what I'm feeling at the shooting position. So then we move over to stage 3. This one is one that we had shot at the first match I went to where it was all rainy. It's off of an international truck, and you've got a hood and then the top of a cab or the inside door window that you can shoot through. And you shoot kind of catty corner across a field. There's a black truck with 5 targets kind of scattered around it, and like 2 or 3 of them are really hard to see, but we won't get into that. So at this stage I was first because I'd gone second at the last, so now I'm up to running it first. So I didn't have anybody else to watch and see how they did it. I decided I was just going to go big bag, plop down and set it on the rifle and try to get down and brace my arm with my support bag under there. And you shoot 5 from the hood and then move to either the top of the cab or through the door. I thought the door would be more stable because I could get down on both knees. So I get on and I think I got a couple of hits, 2, maybe 3 from the first position. Then I got up to the second position and I can't remember, I maybe got 1 or 0 from there. Overall, I only scored 3 out of the possible 10. Bombed that stage. I'm not 100% sure. I thought my wind was pretty decent, but I think I had to be just off a little bit. More than likely, I was wobblier than I thought I was, and just not taking as stable of shots as I could have been, but I'm pretty sure that was the cause on that one. So what I noticed after me, everybody else that went, they were actually stretching out further across the hood and setting their bipod up and using their bag as rear support. So they had two support positions for the rifle. I was running it with just one, and that one really came back to bite me. So something, just live and learn. I should have, used the top of the cab instead of trying to balance on the edge of the door frame with my bag. I should have got up on the top of the cab, bipod down at the front, bag at the back, and got much more stable shots off. So I learned that as we went through it, and I saw everybody else do it. So then the next stage is going to be some tank traps. Now this one was only 9 shots, and there's 2 big tank traps, a left one and a right one. And we've got a target at 680. That's, we'll just call it like a 1130 position. And then we've got one at 465. That's at about a, say, 4 o'clock position. So you go get set up on the left tank trap, and you got to shoot the left. So you shoot 680, 465, 680. Move over to the right tank trap, get set up there, 465, 680, 465. Then come back to the first tank trap, and you're back at 680, 465, 680. So you're alternating left and right between each shot, but 3 shots from the left, 3 shots from the right, and then back to 3 shots from the left tank trap. So I've seen a lot of people were having some trouble with it. I kept checking my Kestrel, and what I was seeing was 0 to 2/10 wind, and I was like, there's no way this makes sense. So I decided I would just go for it and see what happened. With the minute 30, I knew I wasn't going to make it to all of them, so I tried to just go slow and try to get good shots off, since I fumbled so bad and was not very stable the stage before. So boom, first shot hit, second shot hit, third shot hit, move to the next position, first shot hit, second shot hit, and then I ran out of time. But I took 5 shots and I got 5 hits, so I cleaned it for what I shot, but I missed the last half of the shots to be taken. So I'm happy with that one. I know now if I'm not 100% confident, I need to just slow down and not try to run through it as fast to get all the shots off. I got to keep remembering, if I'm missing, I need to just slow down and try to find where I need to be to get hits. And I did that on this stage, and it turned around pretty good for me. I'd rather have 5 out of 5 instead of like 3 out of 10. Definitely. So then we move on to the 5th stage. They call it pipe critters. There are some big and small targets at 585, 636, and 685. So you've got to get to the first position where you're kind of down on these about 2-inch pipe, and you've got one kind of low and then one high. And see, near targets, big, small, middle, big, small, move, far, big, small. So you're getting first position, get the 585 target, shoot the big one, shoot the small one, move to a second position, go to the middle, 636, big, small, move to a third position, go to the farther, 685, big, small, move to the 4th position, come back to the middle, 636, big, small, move to the last position, come back to the closest at 585 and big, small. So 10 shots, you only have a minute and a half. This one I got flustered on because I got in position and boom, boom, I got my first 2 hits on my first 2 shots. I was pretty happy with it. Then I go to get up to the next position, and as soon as I picked my rifle up and went to grab for my bag, I didn't grab my bag quick enough, and it rolled off on the front of the pipe structure thing. So I'm having to try and hold my rifle up while I bend down and grab my bag and then shake it off, get it set up in the next position, and then get settled there. And I was a little less stable, but I got either 1 or 2 at the second position, got moved to the third position. I got 2 shots off, and I either missed both of those or I got 1 out of the 2. Overall, I scored 4 out of the 6 shots I took. I timed out and didn't get to the last 2 positions to take the last 4 shots. So, when I dropped my bag, I got fumbled in my head and lost time. Remember, we're only at a minute and a half, so we're 30 seconds short on all these. That 30 seconds makes a huge deal. Really, really fast moving stages. But that one, I can deal with it, but I know I could have done better on that one, but I just ran out of time. So, something that happens. At least I hit more than I missed on that one. All right, now we go to stage 6. Now this one they call circle the tripod. This one you have to get set up on a tripod, and they said only use one tripod, and you can't use like to support the rifle, so you can't like use a cooler to get up to support the back end of it or anything like that. It was a tripod only thing supporting it, whether you do a bag on the head or do like how this is here, where it's clipped in and locked into place on the tripod. So the rifle is attached to the tripod here. So this one we had targets at 450, 500, 550, 600, 650. They were kind of all going up a line for the first 4, and then the 5th one was kind of a shift over, say like an 11:30 line coming up, and then about a 2 o'clock, 1:30, 2 o'clock shift to get to the last target. So I was watching everybody else go since I was next to last on this stage, or I guess third from last. Anyways, a lot of people were doing like what I did several months ago, where I did set up with a bag. Well, at that stage we had to set up the tripod while we were on the clock, so I thought dropping a bag was going to be fastest, and then plopping my rifle down on it, I just noticed it was much less stable. This one we were allowed to get the tripod set up first and get on it and pretty much be on first target, and they call time, and boom, we close bolt to go. So I knew based on that last match I did that clipping into it like this was definitely going to be more stable. So I took my time, got my wind readings, realized it was another one where it's like 0 to 1 or 2 tenths is all the wind I was getting. And got on there, boom, 2 hits, go to 500, 2 hits, 550, 2 hits, 600, 2 hits. Then I shift over. For some reason, I'm thinking that I'm about to run out of time at this point, and I hurried that 9th shot off, the first one at the 650 target, and I knew I was just a little bit off target when I squeezed the trigger, missed that one, took a breath, slowed down, squeezed the 10th shot off, boom, got a hit. So 9 out of 10. That was one of the best scores. The only other people to get 9 out of 10 was the guy that scored first and the guy that scored second. So everybody else was 7 or fewer hits on that stage. So that was one I was particularly proud of, just being one of the top scorers. Nobody cleaned it, so I was in the top scoring section for that particular stage. Very, very happy about that. And I'm really happy that I remembered something that didn't work very well for me at a previous match, setting the bag on the top of it. That's definitely faster if you're having to move around, but for something like this where the tripods stay in place and you're getting to lock in and get set up on it before you even time starts, that's definitely way more secure. Lock in, get set up in the most stable way possible. So that totally worked. Glad I remembered that one. One of the few times I remember a mistake and actually corrected it. So then we go over to the last stage. At this point, it's like 1 o'clock in the afternoon. It's getting hot, humid. It had rained a couple days before and sprinkled in the morning. I mean, it's starting to be rather miserable. I've already been up since 3 o'clock in the morning, and I'm starting to feel the day. We'll just say that. So the stage was called Burning Tires. There's a big tractor tires, left and a right one. You've got to go to the first position on one tire, and you're supposed to go one shot at a 570, 720, and then an 800. Then move to the other tire, come back to the beginning, 570, 720, 800, back to the first position, and 1, 2, 3. I started talking to a couple other people there and wasting the time away until my turn to go. Well, I get up, get set up, and take my first shot at the first target. Missed it. Saw where I missed. Closed the bolt. Corrected. Boom. Got a hit. But I was supposed to have been on the second target. So I'm like, oh man, wrong target. I'll try to move over to find the second target. And they were saying, just go skip that one and go to the third target, third shot. And I'm like, okay, that makes sense. So then I finally find the 800 and get it dialed in. Took that shot. Got a hit on it. And then I was so flustered at this point, I try to move over to the next position, and I couldn't get myself set up there very well. I was trying to run a tripod and rear bag support. I couldn't get it set up, so I was using my hand under the stock and trying to get a somewhat stable. I got one shot off at the first target, and then as I'm trying to find the second target, I ran out of time, which I was fine with because I was totally flustered and just not doing good at that point. So out of the possible 10, I scored 1. Yay! So that was definitely my worst scoring stage, and really my worst performing stage. I just forgot the order. I was so used to 2 shots per. I just messed that one up. So all there is to it, really. Hey, if you'd like to follow along as I hopefully get slightly progressively better at these PRS matches, do me a favor and get subscribed right down below there. I really do appreciate it, and you get to see how much sun I get every week, so you definitely don't want to miss that because I got way too much and my ears are burnt. I'm going to be feeling this in a couple of days. Well, that's kind of it. Out of the 13 people, I finished 10th so far as standings. 3 people got the same, like, third place finish with their scores all being the same. I'm okay with it because when I did well, I was doing really well. I'm disappointed with it because when I was off, I was totally off, and I know I could do better, obviously, because I do well sometimes, but then I totally bomb sometimes. So I still got to figure out how to put it all together. One match where I just stay at like 70, 80% or more each stage. I'm either at like 90 to 100% on a stage, or I'm at like 10 to 20% on a stage. So that really has a big gap, and I've got to narrow that down and get it closer to that higher 70, 80% range. If I can do that on every stage, I'll be good. I just got to remember sometimes I need to slow down and just get hits instead of trying to get all the shots off, and trust myself a little more when it comes to the wind calls. As long as I can get a good Kestrel reading right before I go up for my stage or to run the stage, I'm usually pretty good. If I'm taking it too early, things change, especially here in Oklahoma, and I still need to learn how to take that into account while doing the stage. But if I'm prepared, I can be pretty good. I think anyways. Do let me know what you think about it down in the comments. I think I'm getting better and better. So far as bolt goes, we did have to run chamber flags. I added some more of the CLP and oiled it and let it soak for a bit. And I have not cleaned it any or wiped it down, but there is not a lot of dust on it. So we'll take a closer look at this after it's on here for a little while. But I mean, bolt ran smooth with the MDT oils. I think it's going to be good stuff. It's definitely not got too much caked up. There is a little bit of like grass, but not nearly as bad as when I was running the Lucas grease. So could be a positive thing. But I think that's going to do it for this one. I am going to try to go down to Gravestone in 2 weeks. I believe the 19th of July. Tentatively, that's the plan. We'll see how it all works out. I'm reaching a point I'm really getting tired, but I always have energy, so I think I'm tired, and then it gets closer to time for the match, and I'm like, let's go do it. So as of right now, I'm tired, but once it comes that weekend, I'm probably going to try and go ahead and make it down there. 3-hour drive. Who needs sleep? Apparently not me. Thank you very much for hanging out with me for a few minutes this week. I really do appreciate it. I hope you have a great rest of your day and a wonderful weekend. We'll see you on the next one. Bye.